If anyone deserves it, it's her. That's what the people who helped bring Jamie Kloss to safety are saying about a $50,000 reward.
Hope you enjoy gas below $2 while we have it, because prices are rising for the first time since October. I'm Josh Butter live in Madison to break down the numbers just ahead.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Wednesday, January 16th. That is really a bummer about the gas prices, Hattie, because I tell you what, you're going to want to warm up the car starting today, and then it gets even worse as the week goes on.
Yeah, it looks like the second half of the month is going to be pretty cold. We're sort of changing weather patterns here. It's going to feel and look more like winter. Here's a look at your weather track map this morning. Best news of the day, though, I think, is that we'll actually see some sunshine today. Skies are starting to clear across southern Wisconsin, and they'll be at least partly sunny heading into the afternoon. Temperatures are still dropping. We're down to 26 now in Madison. When I came to work just a couple of hours ago, it was still 30 degrees, so it's getting colder, and we will see temperatures hold pretty steady through the day in the mid-20s. A light northeasterly wind is expected. Now let's take a look at your first alert traffic maps. The roads should be clear this morning, no issues weather-wise, that is. We're just looking at a few brake lights on the Beltline right around Stoughton Road, a little bit of a slowdown on Verona Road as you head towards the Beltline. Otherwise, no accidents to report, and it looks pretty clear in and around southern Wisconsin. Not a lot of construction icons on that map, which is good news.
I love how you're highlighting that and not single digits coming this weekend. Silver lining, Hattie.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Hats.
You're welcome.
We start the news this hour in Sauk County, where detectives are looking for a possible murder suspect after a missing person was found dead Monday night outside a casino. Sauk County Sheriff Chip Meister says his team is actively searching for 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher and a younger unidentified man who he may have left the casino with. We have pictures of both of them up on channel3000.com. The sheriff's not naming the victim in this case, but says an 80-year-old Lake Delton man was reported missing Monday morning. Hours later, authorities found him dead in his car behind the Ho-Chunk Casino on County Road BD. Investigators are asking anyone with information to come forward.
The jury will meet again today after 12 hours of deliberations and no verdict yet for 60-year-old Daniel Lieske. Lieske is accused of shooting and killing Jesse Faber of Sun Prairie a year ago yesterday. He and his girlfriend have both pleaded guilty to hiding Faber's body in a storage unit, but Lieske insists he didn't intentionally kill him. The judge sent members home at 9 last night when they couldn't come to a decision, so they'll be back at it this morning. Lieske faces life if convicted, along with 12 years for hiding the body.
We are learning more about the man charged in connection with human remains found in a burn pit in Walworth County. Prosecutors say 43-year-old Matthew Newman owns the farmhouse property in East Troy where those remains were discovered. According to the criminal complaint, the girlfriends of two men who worked for Newman reported their boyfriends missing earlier this month. The two bodies were found in a burn pit. They have yet to be identified, but authorities say they are men between the ages of 23 and 41. A trailer for Newman's cleaning business was parked next to the pit when police arrived.
We are continuing to follow development in Jamie Kloss's kidnapping case. The father of the man accused of killing Jamie's parents and then kidnapping her says he has a letter he wants to deliver to her family. CNN reports Patrick Patterson was at the Barron County Justice Center yesterday to pass along a note to the Kloss family. He didn't share any details on what was in that note, though. Meanwhile, his son, 21-year-old Jake Patterson, is waking up in a new jail this morning. Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald says he moved Patterson to the Polk County Jail Monday night. One of Jamie's relatives does work at the Barron County facility, but the sheriff called the transfer an administrative decision and said no one had threatened Patterson.
FBI officials are deciding what to do with the $50,000 reward they promised to anyone with information about Jamie. That agency offered $25,000, and that was matched by Jenny O, the company Jamie's parents worked for before they were killed. Now, the people who helped bring her home say they do not want that money. Jamie approached Jean Nutter last Thursday evening while Nutter was walking her dog. She rushed Jamie to the house of Peter and Kristen Kazinskis, who then called 911. Peter says if anyone deserves the money, it's Jamie, because she got herself out of the situation. CBS This Morning will be live just outside Barron talking to Jamie's Sunday school teacher about the role of faith in her recovery.
Turning to politics now, a bill to make sure people with pre-existing conditions can still get health insurance is moving quickly through the state assembly, but it might not make it much farther than that. The new governor says he will not support a bill to protect pre-existing conditions unless it offers the same protections as the current federal bill. Now, Medicaid also continues to be a topic of debate at the state capitol. Republicans met with Evers in a closed-door meeting yesterday on the topic. Evers said Republicans made it clear Medicaid expansion is a non-starter, while Assembly Speaker Robin Vos accused the governor of picking things to gain political points rather than being realistic about what's likely to pass.
So on things like a dramatic increase in income or sales taxes on business or homeowners, I think that'd be a non-starter with us. At least for our caucus, I think expanding government-run health care is a non-starter too.
We will continue to fight for that, and we feel very confident that we will win that fight.
Now, the governor said he will respectfully submit the Medicaid expansion as part of his budget anyway. Accepting the federal expansion money, by the way, would save the state about $180 million a year and add around 75,000 people to the program. 6:06 your time now. Gas prices are up for the first time since October, and AAA says that's likely going to continue for the foreseeable future.
So you can still find gas around the $2 mark here in Madison, but it might be the last time you can fill up for that cheap all this year. Josh Spreiter is live on the west side this morning with more on perhaps why these gas prices are starting to go up. Hey, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, prices really haven't gone up too much so far. They're only up about a penny nationwide this week. You can say here at the Woodman's on Gammon Road, we're still below $2, $1.93 here this morning. And AAA says the numbers we're seeing right now will most likely be the lowest we pay all year. So why is that, you may ask? Well, AAA says the price of crude oil has been slowly but steadily increasing since the beginning of the year, which is starting to push up prices at the pump. Also last week, we saw not only more expensive crude oil, but a sizable build in U.S. gasoline stocks and a small increase in demand. We caught up with a very busy mom, Jovinus Price Pierce. She topped off her car with only $11, and though she loves paying less at the pump, she says the price will never affect her bottom line of getting her kids where they need to go.
For the fact that I gotta have gasoline and I will pay what I gotta pay, but I know I'll come here.
Pierce was taking advantage of one of the lower prices in Madison at $1.93 a gallon. That's below the city's average of $2 and the state average of $2.06. Now, with the colder temperatures expected to kick in later this week, AAA says it's also important to keep your vehicles filled up. I know my partner in crime, photojournalist Mark Schilling, always does a good job at keeping our big rig filled up here. I'll have more on that story coming up at 6:30, ladies.
All right, sounds like a plan and good advice for everybody. Get out there if you can. Josh Spreiter reporting live from the west side. Thank you, Josh.
6:07 your time now. A total of more than $300,000 has already been raised in Madison's mayoral race, and tonight you have a chance to hear what some of those candidates have planned for supporting Madison's arts and culture. We're going to have a preview of that conversation coming up.
And the sun hasn't come up just quite yet, but we might see a good bit of it today. It won't help our temperatures much, though. Hattie's in next with your full forecast on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A pretty quiet start this morning. Temperatures are actually colder though this morning than they were this time yesterday. Take a look at the temperature trend. We slowly climbed through the afternoon. The official high in Madison was 33 just before midnight last night. But with a cold front moving through the area, temperatures have been steadily dropping since then, and we're down to 26 here in Madison. Nothing showing up on the radar map though. Behind that front, things are quiet. Skies are actually beginning to clear out across the Badger State. Take a look at the weather track map showing you satellite and radar combined this morning. That clearing line continues to work its way into southern Wisconsin. So some sunshine definitely in our forecast today. Enjoy it today though, because it's not going to last long. Your GFS Future Track forecast model shows you some sunshine early, but clouds already moving in as you head home from work, especially west of Madison. Those clouds will stay put overnight and even into tomorrow. There is a chance for a few flurries tomorrow as well. Little to no accumulation though is expected. We are looking at the potential for some snow accumulation though late Friday into Saturday, with another storm system tracking across the area. Snow is going to wind down Saturday afternoon from west to east, but some of the latest forecast models are actually bringing those snow totals into the 3 to 6 inch range for southern Wisconsin, according to the GFS forecast model. The European model, though, actually trending in the other direction, pulling back on those numbers from yesterday, indicating just a couple of inches of snow possible for the far southern part of the state. So again, I would expect these numbers to change several times over the next couple of days, so stay up with the forecast. May impact travel this weekend. Your temperatures early this morning, a wide range. It is now officially below zero in Superior this morning, just 11 in Eau Claire with clear skies, 26 here in Madison. We still have the benefit of a little bit of cloud cover, keeping those temperatures in the 20s early today. There is a light northerly wind though, so wind chills are down in the teens. Here's a look at your Future Track forecast model. Sunshine through the morning into the early afternoon hours. Temperatures are not going to move too far today. We'll hold steady in the mid-20s through the afternoon. Clouds already moving in as we head through the evening hours. Here's a look at your extended forecast. One more day in the 30s on Thursday before a pretty big cool down happens this weekend. That chance for snow developing late Friday and continuing into Saturday, and then the bottom drops out. Looks like we will drop into the single digits for the first time in about 11 months on Saturday night into Sunday morning, and that doesn't even factor in the wind chill. Let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start on the Beltline this morning so far. It's moving well in both directions with no major issues. Other roads here in Dane County are looking good right now at the moment. Just a few of the usual brake lights on Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline. Downtown Madison moving well, no delays around the Capitol and UW campus. And other main routes heading into the city, they're moving along at the usual speeds right now with no major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Josh, and thank you, Hattie. So art does not just play into the identity and culture here in the city of Madison. It's part of the economy that some voters want to make sure the next city mayor is paying attention to.
Yeah, 2017 report says the arts bring in almost $250 million to Dane County. Not a small portion at all. Jolynn Rorda of the Arts and Literature Library and Scott Gordon of the online publication Tell Madison join us this morning to talk about this forum you folks are holding with the mayoral candidates tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So that number really speaks for itself, but maybe you could elaborate on why the arts are so important to our community in particular.
I think if you look at Madison as a whole, you'll see that the arts and culture are a big part of our identity, and it's what people think about with Madison. Of course, obviously, natural resources and the tech industry right now is big, but the arts impact all of us in our daily lives, whether it's people with families, young children who are participating in the arts, to everybody who likes to attend the free concerts in the summer, or just enjoy some of the mini arts venues that are downtown and in our neighborhoods. So we felt really comfortable having an entire forum dedicated to the arts because it doesn't just impact the artists, it impacts all of us who live in Madison.
Sure.
Scott, I'm curious, we just saw the Sylvie be put up and open for the first time. That's kind of the first thing that comes to my mind as far as the arts go recently. What kind of other investments will you be asking about? I think a lot of people wonder about money and what kind of money is going into this topic.
Yeah, well, the city of Madison itself has, various mechanisms for funding arts and culture, from Madison Arts Commission grants to its support for the Madison Public Library, which does a lot of innovative arts programming, to things like Make Music Madison and the Overture Center. And when you add it all together, that's not necessarily the biggest part of the city's budget, but it does say something about what our priorities are and kind of how we're approaching that area of policy in the city. So we're really hoping to, push a bigger conversation about how the arts factor into, the city's direction as a whole.
And I think Danica was saying during the break, a lot of us, when we think of art, we think of public art in the park, not necessarily some of these other events that are happening. What do you want people to know? What do you want people to take away from this forum when it comes to arts in Madison?
I guess the most important thing for me is that, people have a voice in this, if they kind of stand up and participate in the process and get interested in the issues. And, that there are things that the city's leadership are just making decisions about that that affect you and that affect kind of the, like you said, public art is definitely part of it, but not the only thing. And so there are, all kinds of interesting goings-on and opportunities that people can have some influence on if they get interested in. And so that's what we're kind of hoping to push from this.
Julian, while we put up some information about the actual forum tonight, can you make a pitch for anyone who may not feel like they're directly impacted by the arts, not artists, not musicians, not, you know what I mean? I mean, what would you say to get other people out there today?
Well, like Scott was saying, I mean, the decisions that are being made, the policies that are being made, they affect all of us, whether or not you have even a positive or a negative outlook on what's going on in the arts. If you want to have a say in, what our city's leadership is thinking about as we look at the future of Madison, as we continue this incredibly rapid pace of growth as a community and see new developments going up, if you, want to make sure that our leaders are thinking about the arts as they make their decisions, from, what opportunities are available, whether there's equity and access to both the artists and the people who are enjoying the arts, and whether it's making your communities more livable. Are you enjoying it? Is the parking bothering you? All of these things. If these affect you in your daily life, and therefore our leaders need to tell us what they're thinking before we go to the polls.
Really interesting conversation, Jolyn and Scott. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, a young Rock County kid in the middle of a cancer battle is getting some help from some determined high schoolers. We'll tell you how a community is making sure his family can pay medical bills and keeping their spirits up in the process.
And after a couple of days of dreary skies and drizzle, we might finally see a little peek of the sun. Later on this morning, that is. We'll check in with Hattie when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. Our forecast for today has temperatures that are starting in the low 30s near the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, but significantly cooler to the north. It's down into the teens in Camp Douglas as well as Wautoma. Temperatures are still dropping this morning. We have a north wind as well, so there's a bit of a wind to factor in. Wind chill readings are down in the teens. Here's a look at your bus stop weather forecast. Clouds are clearing though today. We'll start with wind chills in the teens this morning. Temperatures are going to hold nearly steady into the afternoon, but partly sunny skies are expected. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you so much, Hattie. 6:22 your time now. A Wisconsin veteran who's been paralyzed for almost 30 years is taking his first steps in decades. Gene Juntunen says he likes to stay active. He's competed in more than 90 wheelchair marathons, and he also hopes to kayak the entire shoreline of Lake Superior. Pretty impressive. Now he's able to do something he hasn't been able to do since the 80s. Walk. You can see that happening right there. He's taking part in a nationwide study that allows disabled veterans to use a high-tech robotic exoskeleton to help them get on their feet.
One of the physical therapists told me, you got to think of it like dancing. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I never could dance. She said, well, how about cross-country skiing? I said, yeah, that I can do. So I started kind of transferring the weight, and it worked out real good.
Dean will test out the technology for 4 months. Other veterans with spinal cord injuries can also qualify for the research. So far, there are 160 veterans across the country taking part.
There is a 4-year-old Janesville boy getting some serious support from new high school friends as he continues his cancer battle. Those students at Janesville Craig held a pep rally yesterday, all for Isaac Johnson. Now, Isaac has spent the last 2 years battling neuroblastoma, so half of his life. The high school student council headed up an effort to raise money for Isaac's family any way they could, and after fundraising all of December, they were able to hand over a nearly $10,000 check to the Johnson family.
I guess that's what keeps you going. You know, there's lots of lows in this, and there's highs, and when you have those low days, those are things like this is what you think about.
Isaac says the whole ordeal made him feel like a celebrity.
Gosh.
Good on the school. Way to go, Isaac.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how Isaac and his family feel just knowing they have that entire community support behind them?
So awesome.
Love that story. All right, 6:24 your time now. As we prepare to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day next week, there is a new study showing Wisconsin might be one of the worst states in the country when it comes to racial integration and equality.
We will have more on that. Madison school officials say it's been put off long enough. They need to make improvements at the city's high schools. We'll tell you what that could mean for your property taxes when News 3 This Morning continues.
The prices at the pump are heading up for the first time in several months, and experts say this is only the beginning. I'm Josh Butter live with the latest numbers to affect your wallet coming up.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. It's 6:28 now on this Wednesday, January 16th. Josh is talking about gas prices going up. Hattie's talking about temperatures going down.
Like way down.
Yeah.
Maybe not today, but in the coming days. So today, Hattie, a little bit of a warm up for that cool down.
That's true. Yes, temperatures won't be that cold today, but the best news about today is that we're actually going to see a sunrise this morning. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. You see the back edge of the clouds working its way through the Madison area as we speak. So it should be a pretty nice sunrise in about an hour. Here's a look at your satellite map across the southern part of the state this morning. And that clearing line continues to work its way into southern Wisconsin. So sunshine in our forecast today. Temperatures are dropping, though. We had the benefit of clouds overnight, so temps stayed nearly steady in the 20s. But you see where skies are clear, La Crosse and Camp Douglas quickly dropping back into the teens. So we're not done dropping just yet here in Madison. Our temperatures may drop another couple of degrees, but then we're going to hold steady into the afternoon in the mid-20s. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll show you what's happening on the roads in the area. Still pretty quiet. Not any volume issues showing up yet on the Beltline or on any of those major routes heading into Madison. So if you are leaving right now, good news. You're still traveling at posted speeds into the capital city. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you so much, Hattie. 56 years after Dr. King first introduced the world to his dream of a colorblind America, a new report by Wallet Hub shows just how far Wisconsin has to go.
Yeah, that organization ranks our state as the most segregated in America. Christina Laurie joins us now with more on this survey and why we ended up in this spot.
And 1 week out from Dr. Martin Luther King Day, some startling numbers here. Only the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., ranks behind Wisconsin in terms of racial integration. One measure of how times have changed, or rather haven't, throughout the past half century. The study defines racial integration as the disparity between white and black Americans in terms of achieving wealth, employment, education, social engagement, and health. Not only does Wisconsin rank low in every one of those categories, but the state also has one of the highest income gaps, as well as the second highest labor force participation rate gap. In short, African Americans in our state are less likely to be employed and more likely to make significantly less money than whites even when they are employed. They're also less likely to graduate from high school than white Wisconsinites. Now, according to Wallet Hub, Wisconsin also ranks 46 among states that have made the most racial progress, which is a poor indication that these numbers will change anytime soon, ladies.
Pretty shocking numbers there. All right, Christina Laurie reporting for us. Thank you, Christina.
Your time right now is 6:31, and Madison schools could soon ask you to approve spending tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer money on improvements at the high schools your kids and their friends go to every day. The district says those referendums on next year's ballot could run anywhere from $30 million to $70 million for each of the city's 4 high schools. At Memorial, for instance, hallways and ceilings have been aging pretty noticeably, and gas valves in certain science classrooms have been permanently closed off. Just a couple of examples of the repairs needed. The building director for Madison Schools says there have not been significant investments in the aging buildings since the 1970s.
And when that's the case, it can start to appear that these sites are in kind of their own little time capsule, and in many cases that's happened where we think we're positioned right now for what could be the next exciting 40 or 50 years, and we're hoping the community is supportive of that.
Madison School Board gave the district facilities manager the go-ahead to continue routine work at the high schools. Before the investment is put on the ballot, the plan for upgrades will need to get a bit more specific. The district plans to get that plan together by May and bring it to the board for the final approval it needs. Any referendum would be, again, on the 2020 ballot.
And the Milton School District is hoping the third time's the charm when it comes to getting voters there to approve a referendum on their spring ballot. The Janesville Gazette reports the school board approved a nearly $60 million question for the April vote to make improvements to every school building in the district and address overcrowding concerns. It also includes funding for a new high school pool. But unlike the previous 2 referendums that had failed, this proposal does not call for building a new high school. The latest referendum would raise taxes on a $100,000 home by $164 a year.
The city is looking at a new proposal for an addiction recovery center named for one of Madison's most famous residents. The Chris Farley House would be near the corner of West Olin Avenue and Park Street. The buildings on that property would be torn down and a two-story treatment center would be built in their place. Now that facility would be run by Madison-based Hope Haven. It would help people struggling with addiction with things like housing and outpatient services. Chris Farley grew up in Madison, but the comedian died of a drug overdose at the age of 33. We are getting our first look at the newly renovated Behavior Health Unit at St. Mary's Hospital here in Madison. That $5.4 million project includes a redesigned, calming and therapeutic environment to help patients and their families with, again, a quiet, safe and comfortable space. That redesign also offers clinicians a greater, or more options, I should say, for addressing patients' mental health needs.
6:33 your time now, and now might be the time to fill up the family minivan. Gas prices are inching up this morning, and experts say they'll probably be heading in that direction for a while.
AAA says those prices are rising for the first time in 3 months, so the days of gas below $2 a gallon might soon be a thing of the past, unfortunately. Luckily, Josh Sprider is live on Madison's west side, where that is still the case at one of the pumps. Hi, Josh.
Good morning. Yeah, Madison is still seeing prices lower than that of the national average. You can see here at the Woodman's on Gammon Road, we're still at $1.93 a gallon. That's also below where the average is sitting for the city right now at $2 a gallon. The national gas price average is a penny more expensive this week at $2.25, and despite that increase, today's average is still down 28 cents from this time last year, so that may want you to fill up soon. Plus, AAA says it's also important to keep your tank at least half full as more winter cold is expected to settle in. This will help you avoid any gas lines from freezing up, but also help keep your family safe if you get stranded. That's why this Madison mom fills up almost daily to make sure she can always keep her babies warm in the extreme cold. Jovina's Price Pierce says she's always looking for the best prices around town.
There's still a lot of places that are $2.05, $2.04, but here it's $1.93. It was $1.95, so I'm still getting a good deal here at Woodman's.
AAA says the price of crude oil has been slowly but steadily increasing since the beginning of the year, which is starting to push up prices at the pump. Back out here live, just take a look at this number. This person who filled up earlier filled up for $24, more than 12.5 gallons. I remember at one point when that would have been double of that. Unfortunately, AAA says what we're seeing right now for prices is expected to be the lowest of what we see here in 2019. So hopefully we don't go up too much, but boy, it has been nice on the old wallet, ladies.
Yeah, my little SUV is filling up for $25 right now. I am going to go do that today. Absolutely. Josh Sprider reporting live for us. Thank you, Josh.
6:35 right now. Things are not looking so good for British Prime Minister Theresa May after her version of the Brexit deal was overwhelmingly voted down by the Parliament there. We'll have an update on that in the morning sprint.
And a lot of work goes into running a restaurant. Our latest Restaurant Week preview highlights a business that's truly a family affair. That story's next on News 3 this morning. Okay, so this Wisconsin girl is ready for some snow. So James posted this picture on Facebook, had to share it. Take a look at that gorgeous, gorgeous drive. This is allegedly near Madison, although it clearly has not looked like this.
No, I think it's been a little
in a couple
while.
weeks, unfortunately. I just love this picture, though, hoping that this is going to be the site this weekend.
Yeah, and there is a chance. Hattie is watching that storm system pretty closely, so we still don't have a super clear idea of how much snow it might bring. But
fingers crossed.
Regardless, you might have to plow again, James. Thank you so much for the picture. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. Use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We share our favorites every morning here on the program. So speaking of winter, our preview of this season's Restaurant Week continues this morning as our partners at Madison Magazine and all of the participating restaurants prepare for the rush.
It's the best time of the year. One of those spots is the Tin Fox. The contemporary American restaurant just opened on Monroe Street back in May. For the first 6 months, though, they had to deal with that area being closed for construction. Executive Chef Justice Neal says they've been excited to see the traffic pick up since then. He's hoping Restaurant Week is also going to bring in a packed crowd. Neal says the Tin Fox is different from any other place in Madison because of the true family-owned feel, where you can find him, his sisters, even his parents working all week.
I like to think we're probably one of the most friendly restaurants in the city. We like to bring that family vibe, whether you're a part of our family or you're just coming in to dine, you know. This is our table and we want it to be yours too.
All right, take a look at this. Danica and I are starving, by the way. This right here is the veal loin served with purple potatoes, squash, and Brussels sprouts. Sign me up. Another item on the menu is salmon served with fingerling potatoes, watercress, and sun-dried tomato jam.
So if that doesn't make you hungry enough, you can also go over to the Restaurant Week menu page. We have that up at channel3000.com. You just click on the Madison Magazine tab. All of the restaurants' menus are listed on there. By the way, it starts on Sunday.
Looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
6:41 your time now. We are getting a sneak peek of the sun today before flurries set in for the rest of the week and temperatures drop into the single digits for the first time in almost a year. Hattie's got another look at your forecast. That's coming up after the break.
First, though, it is January 16th. We're hoping for temperatures a little warmer as Camille and all the kiddos turning 3 celebrate their birthday. Thanks for celebrating with us right here on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Weather Center. We're talking clearing skies today. Here's a look at your weather track for map this morning. Satellite and radar combined. A lot of clouds sinking southward out of the area, which is good news. No precipitation from these clouds. Our threat for freezing drizzle has come to an end. We now turn our attention to some sunshine that'll be in the forecast today. Zooming the map out, though, things are getting pretty active on the western side of the country. A large storm system is moving onshore today. That will bring very heavy rain to California, as well as some mountain snow. It'll take a couple of days for that storm to track across the west, but it arrives in our part of the country later on Friday. So here's a look at your GFS Future Track forecast model on Friday. There's that storm system moving across the central part of the country, bringing some snow to southern Wisconsin. We're definitely on the cold side of things this time, so all snow in the forecast with this system as it tracks through. Saturday morning, still likely waking up to some snow for the area, but it'll come to an end from west to east through the day on Saturday. Now, the forecast models are still fine-tuning some of the snow amounts that we're going to be dealing with this particular system. You see southern part of Illinois, no snow. It'll be all rain there. But for southern Wisconsin, the GFS forecast model is indicating anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. But by contrast, the European model, a little lighter on those snow totals, keeping the heavier bands to the west and south of Wisconsin. So keep your eye on these forecasts. These numbers are likely to change several times in between now and Friday night and Saturday. Temperatures, though, are cooling down. It's definitely going to feel more like January. 30s across Illinois, but take a look at International Falls. The actual air temperature this morning, 21 degrees below zero. Now, I don't have anything like that in our forecast, but it does cool down around here. For southern Wisconsin, temperatures are still mostly in the 20s. Back out to the Midwest, though, I wanted to show you the wind chill factor. There is a little bit of a wind chill factor here in Madison. It feels like 18, feels like 0 in Wausau, 5 below in Minneapolis. Lucky for International Falls, no wind there, so wind chill is same as the actual air temperature. Here's a look at your forecast today. Wind chills will hover in the teens through most of the afternoon. Sunshine in the area, though, today. 26 in Fort Atkinson this afternoon, 26 as well in Watertown. I would expect temperatures to hold nearly steady in the mid-20s as we go through the afternoon hours. Even to the north, some sunshine expected. 24 in Montello, 26 in Poinet. Now, here in Madison, we're looking at temperatures continuing to drop off this morning. We'll bottom out and then hold steady through the rest of the day with mid-20s in the area. Sunshine, though, is the best news of the day. The extended forecast gets a little more active around here and definitely colder. We're talking our first single-digit temperatures in almost a year. Highs on Sunday as well, barely making it into double digits. Here's Moses in Dodgeville, kind of playing hide and seek there. Not a bad day to get outside today and actually enjoy some of that sunshine.
He is hiding from those single digits, though, Hads, as long as he can. Yes.
We'll
That
all
beard
be
will
doing
keep him
that
warm.
later on.
Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
The morning sprint's coming up next here on News 3 This Morning. 6:51, time for the morning sprint. We started the day near the forecasted high. Hattie expects temperatures to fall into the 20s with some sunshine in the mix.
Christina Laurie has the details on a study that says Wisconsin is one of the worst states in the country for racial equality. And Josh Breiter says you should get ready to pay more at the pump. But we start here in Madison, where a jury will continue their deliberations after a 12-hour day with no verdict in the murder trial of Daniel Lieske. The judge sent members home at 9 last night when they couldn't come to a decision. Lieske is accused of shooting and killing Jesse Faber a year ago yesterday, but he says he did not intentionally do it. He and his girlfriend have already pleaded guilty to hiding Faber's body in a storage unit. Lieske faces life in prison if he's convicted.
Sauk County detectives are searching for a murder suspect this morning after a missing man was found dead in his car parked outside of a casino. Deputies there are actively searching for 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher and a younger unidentified man who he may have left the casino with. We do have pictures of both of them up on channel3000.com. An 80-year-old Lake Delton man was reported missing Monday afternoon. Hours later, deputies found him dead in his car behind the Ho Chunk Casino on County Road BD.
We are learning more about the man charged in connection with the remains found in a burn pit over in Walworth County. Prosecutors say 43-year-old Matthew Newman owns the farmhouse property in East Troy where those remains were discovered. According to the criminal complaint, the girlfriends of two men who worked for him reported their boyfriends missing earlier this month. Those two bodies found in the burn pit have yet to be identified.
The father of the man accused of abducting Jamie Kloss and killing her parents says he has a letter he wants to deliver to her surviving family members. That's what Patrick Patterson told reporters at the Barron County Justice Center yesterday, saying all he cares about right now is that family. Meanwhile, his son Jake Patterson has been transferred to a Polk County prison. The couple who called 911 when their neighbor found Jamie says she is the one who deserves the $50,000 reward offered to anyone with information on the missing girl.
And skies continue to clear here across southern Wisconsin. Take a look at that weather track map showing you the clouds sinking southward this morning. Enjoy sunshine today with temperatures holding steady in the mid-20s. That's pretty normal for this time of the year.
Thank you, Hattie. Our farm babe Pam Yankee says U.S. ag markets are looking a little shaky this morning as we wait to see if and when the Brexit deal overseas is going to happen. British Prime Minister Theresa May is facing another no-confidence vote after the Brexit plan she worked on for 2 years was rejected by the largest margin in modern UK government history. The UK is scheduled to leave the European Union on March 29th, but with that plan defeated, it's not clear exactly how that will happen.
The president's tweeting about the success of border walls in Europe as we head into the 26th day of the longest federal government shutdown in history. Now, nearly 50,000 furloughed employees are being told to go back to work without pay. That includes some workers at the IRS who are being called back to make sure tax returns are processed and refunds are issued on time.
President Trump's Attorney General nominee, William Barr, is about to start his second day of confirmation hearings today. The main focus yesterday was on special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, which Barr says he will not interfere with if he's confirmed. Barr is expected to be confirmed when the full Senate votes next month.
Former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is in a bit of a social media back and forth with a pretty prominent member of Congress. Walker tweeted criticism of Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's proposal for a 70% tax on people who make more than $10 million a year. Now, Walker yesterday said even a fifth grader thinks a 70% tax isn't fair. That led to her tweeting a response saying only the rich would be taxed that much because other people are underpaid.
56 years now after Dr. King first introduced the world to his dream of a colorblind America, a new report out by Wallet Hub shows just how far Wisconsin still has to go. Wallet Hub rates Wisconsin as the most segregated in America. According to the study, Wisconsin has one of the highest income gaps, as well as the second highest labor force participation rate gap. In short, African Americans in our state are less likely to be employed and more likely to make significantly less money than whites even when they are employed. They're also less likely to have a high school diploma than white Wisconsinites.
Thank you, Christina. Madison schools could soon ask you to approve tens of millions of taxpayer dollars on improvements at the high schools your kids and their friends go to every day. The district says those referendums on next year's ballot could run up to $70 million for each of the city's 4 high schools. The building director for Madison Schools says there hasn't been a significant investment in those aging buildings since the 1970s.
Meanwhile, Milton voters will see a nearly $60 million question on their ballots come spring. This is the district's third attempt at getting approval for that funding, which would pay for improvements at every school in that district, address some overcrowding concerns, and cover a new pool at the high school. The Janesville Gazette reports the latest proposal would raise property taxes by more than $300 a year on a $200,000 home.
I'm Josh Fetter live in Madison, where we're seeing an average gas price of around $2 a gallon this morning, and we're learning this will be the lowest price we will most likely pay this year. AAA expects that we're going to be seeing the bottom for 2019 right now, with those prices beginning to inch up. They're already a penny up over last week, and it's the first increase in 3 months, with the national average around $2.25 a gallon. AAA says the price of crude oil has been slowly but steadily increasing since the beginning of the year, which is starting to push up prices at the pump. Changes at OPEC could also affect the prices. As of right now, Wisconsin has seen some of the lowest in the Midwest, with an average of about $2.06 a gallon.
Thank you so much, Josh. 6:57 your time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey there.
Yeah, the westbound side of the Beltline continuing to get busier now between Stoughton Road and West Broadway, but really nothing unusual there. Just expect delays to start showing up here in the next 10 minutes or so. Inbound John Olin tapping the brakes at Rimrock and Olin Avenue, leading into the downtown area. Other main routes heading into the city, they're moving along at the usual speeds right now, no crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, we're seeing a few breaks in the cloud cover as we look from our Edgewater Skycam towards the Capitol this morning. Sun is in the forecast today, but it's going to feel a little chilly. Temperatures holding steady this afternoon in the mid-20s, wind chills in the teens.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with the day's top stories. See you then.